The audience erupted in cheers as the band struck up a vibrant tune, announcing the arrival of Jennifer Lopez. Under the bright lights of Jimmy Kimmel Live, she stepped onto the stage wearing a figure-hugging crimson dress, her signature glow unmistakable. She waved graciously, smiled, and gave Jimmy a warm hug before settling into the guest chair. The crowd's excitement hadn't yet settled when Jimmy leaned in, flashing his trademark smirk. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, turning to the camera, "the one and only Jennifer Lopez, or should I say, Mrs. Beneful like a broken bar, though I hope you're not judging him for his now world-famous miserable at award shows face." The audience chuckled, and a few even burst out laughing. Jimmy looked pleased with himself, but Jennifer didn't laugh. She blinked once, her smile stiffening, eyes narrowing just slightly. "You think that's funny?" she asked, her voice calm but laced with something sharper beneath the surface. Jimmy shifted in his seat, still trying to play it cool. "Oh come on, Jen, it's just a joke." The internet had a field day with that face. Jennifer crossed her legs and folded her arms across her lap. Her body language changed instantly, her posture now rigid, guarded. "Right," she said slowly. "Because it's always a joke when it's at our expense. Doesn't matter how personal or hurtful it is. It's just content, right?" The audience quieted, uncertain how to respond. Jimmy looked surprised but not entirely rattled. "I mean, I didn't mean it that way. It's just that people notice things, and that whole meme thing took off. You know how social media is." Jennifer's eyes darkened, her tone still composed but growing colder. "Yeah, I know exactly how social media is. I've had to live through the noise for decades. But what bothers me is that I'm here, on your show, as a guest. I'm here to talk about my work, about it. Loss is something I poured my soul into. And the first thing you want to talk about is a meme." Jimmy held up his hands. "All right, fair enough. Let's pivot. Tell us about Atlas. Big Netflix sci-fi, right? You're saving the world again." She didn't move, didn't soften. "This isn't just another movie, Jimmy," she said. "It's about technology, identity, trust, survival. I trained for months for this role. It's not fluff. And the fact that you started with some snide comment about my husband's face says a lot." Jimmy attempted another chuckle, trying to ease the tension. Hey, don't be so serious. You've been in the business long enough to know we poke a little fun." Jennifer leaned forward. "Exactly. I've been in this business long enough to be done with being the punchline." There was no mistaking it now, as something real had shifted in the air. It wasn't just awkward, it was tense. The audience watched, some exchanging nervous glances, others frozen in place. Jennifer was no longer playing along, and Jimmy, despite his years of late-night experience, was visibly off balance. "Look," he said, voice a bit lower now, "I didn't mean to offend you. Seriously, if that struck a nerve, I apologize. We all love you here." Jennifer gave a small, tight smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I don't need love, Jimmy. I need respect." Jimmy swallowed, glancing toward the producers offstage, clearly uncertain about what to do next. The interview had barely started, but it already felt like the energy was spiraling out of control. Normally, Jennifer would have handled a moment like this with practiced diplomacy, a laugh, a shrug, a witty comeback. But tonight was different. There was steel in her gaze, and an unmistakable message behind her every word. She had reached her limit. "I've done 100 interviews this month," she said. "Most people started with questions about the character, the themes, the technology in the film. You chose a meme. That says something, doesn't it?" There was no answer. Jimmy, for once, didn't have a quip. And in that stillness, the gravity of the moment settled in. This wasn't just about a meme or an awkward joke. It was about years, a decade of public scrutiny, of being reduced to sound bites, red carpet outfits, relationship gossip. Tonight, on a stage built for entertainment, Jennifer Lopez wasn't here to perform for laughs. She was here to draw a line. Jimmy sat still, stunned. For a man known for his quick wit and polished tease, he suddenly seemed unsure of how to proceed. The air in the studio was electric with discomfort. Jennifer's words had landed with force, and even though she remained seated, the shift in her energy had overtaken the room like a storm brewing on the edge of control. He tried again, with a more cautious tone this time. "Let's talk about the film, he said, attempting to redirect the conversation. "You mentioned it, Lassa. I saw the trailer. You're a badass in this one, battling Rogai, saving humanity. That's got to be fun, right?" Jennifer stared at him blankly for a second, as if assessing whether the sudden change in tone was genuine or simply a survival tactic. "Now you want to talk about the film," she said coolly. "After opening the show by mocking my personal life." Jimmy raised his eyebrows, sensing things hadn't calmed down. "Jen, I wasn't mocking. I swear. It was just a little joke. Honestly, we've had Ben on this show too." He laughs about it himself. Her voice cracked like a whip. "I'm not Ben." The audience gasped quietly. "And I'm not laughing." She stood up. At first, no one quite understood what was happening. In a second, she went from calmly sitting to pulling off her microphone pack with careful precision, her fingers trembling slightly despite her composed exterior. A stagehand rushed forward to take the mic, but Jennifer brushed past them. Jimmy leaned toward her, holding out a hand. "Jennifer, wait. Come on, don't do this." She turned, standing tall, her voice firm and clear, not shouting, but projecting with total control. "No, Jimmy, I am done. I came here to talk about a project I'm proud of, and all you had prepared was a meme and a smirk." The crowd, unsure whether this was part of some elaborate sketch or a real meltdown, sat frozen. The tension was so thick you could feel it in your chest. Jennifer walked across the stage, her heels tapping sharply against the glossy floor. Each step echoed like a gavel striking a courtroom bench. Backstage, producers were scrambling. The camera awkwardly cut to Jimmy, then back to the empty guest chair. A red-faced assistant spoke rapidly into a headset. The director signaled for commercial, but not quickly enough. Jennifer was caught on camera tossing a glance over her shoulder as she walked off stage, muttering just loud enough for the boom mic to catch, "I'm done with this clown show." The screen faded to black as the show cut to an emergency ad break. In the green room, chaos exploded. Staffers rushed around, unsure whether to follow her or let her go. A security guard tried to clear a hallway. One of Jennifer's team members met her at the studio exit, jaw clenched and phone already buzzing non-stop. By the time the commercial ended and the show resumed, Jimmy had composed himself barely. "Well, folks," he said, trying to make light of the moment, "I guess J.Lo had better places to be." A few people chuckled, but the mood had clearly shifted. It was impossible to ignore what had just happened. Within minutes, clips of the moment began circulating online. Cell phone footage from audience members, screen recordings, memes, and hashtag debates lit up every platform. On Twitter, #Lopez walks out, #Kimmel clowned, and #respect J.Lo began trending simultaneously. The internet, as always, had opinions, so lots of them. Some viewers defended her, praising Jennifer for standing up for herself and refusing to tolerate shallow treatment from yet another male host. Others accused her of being overly sensitive. The debate became a digital storm, and as the hours passed, it only intensified. By midnight, Jennifer's team issued a short but pointed statement. Jennifer Lopez appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live to discuss her film Atlas, not to be reduced to tired gossip. She stands by her decision to walk off. Respect isn't optional. The statement ignited a second wave of reactions. Celebrities chimed in, some siding with her, some subtly taking Jimmy's corner. Fans flooded her Instagram with supportive comments, while tabloid websites refreshed their homepages every 5 minutes with new headlines. Back in his dressing room, Jimmy sat alone. His team spoke in hushed voices outside the door, debating damage control. He rewatched the clip silently, noting every beat up, the change in her expression, the shift in the audience, the exact moment she stood up. It wasn't his first awkward interview, but this one felt different. He wasn't sure whether it was the outburst itself or the fact that, deep down, he knew she wasn't wrong. Maybe the joke had been lazy. Maybe the culture really had changed, and he hadn't caught up. Jennifer, meanwhile, sat in the back of a black SUV, staring out the window as Los Angeles lights blurred past. Her phone buzzed again, another message of support. She glanced at it briefly, then turned the screen face down on the seat beside her. She had made her point. Now, the world was listening.